Good morning, everyone. Well, I'm not sure which way this is going to go today. Um, Everything seems to be pretty conflicted. We've got not too much time left to this election, which is like, I'm sure, the big uncertainty going on here. Everybody waiting to see if we're going to get any stimulus or whatever. When the market gets a sniff of that coming, it rallies. I guess that's the last thing to drive this market. But anyway, right now we've got this, I guess we'd call it a stair step lower. That was where the high point came in, where our internals reached an extreme. And as I said yesterday, they're rarely pinpoint accurate as they were this time. Just typically doesn't happen that way. Usually several days, a week. I've seen 2 weeks anyway. And it marked off the high point. We had this void, and the initial move down and the lower high, and then back down again. And now we've got this choppy sideways shelf here. And looking at, well, we'll look at the spiders, but and so, the wider range bar, the inside bar, sellers came in on the rally, but they couldn't break the low. And so we're sitting here with prices kind of just, I guess, sitting on this shelf. And if it breaks that, we have to assume it's going to go down, right, to this level here. There's nothing in between. So 3340-ish. 3340-ish. Well, that would be a pretty nasty day if it happened in a day. Hard to see that without some kind of news like, Nancy and Trump with a picture of them with the middle finger at each other. That might do it. Anyway, what I wrote over the weekend letter was, the 50 MA. Look at that on the indices with this converging 20 and 50 there. We got a whole number of 3,400, this shelf right there. Yeah, exactly, McGraw. We got the shelf. So we could get the spike down, and, just looking at that, and you look to the left, well, there's nothing there. So while everybody will look at this area, I've explained multiple times why it's subjective as a reference point, because looking at the hourly chart here, and, you line it up and you look there and you say, well, what's directly to the left? Yeah, wouldn't we all want that, Alex? A picture of that, an autograph of that picture, both of them autographing that. We hand it down to our kids, probably be worth a few bucks after we're gone. So there's nothing there, which, so it reinforces the concept of moving averages being subjective as reference points, even though we use them. There's a real-time lesson, that reinforces what we say. Moving averages are a visual aid. We use them because everyone else is using them, especially on an index, and most stocks, for the 50 MA, and the simple type. And we look there, and well, there's absolutely nothing. Other times we see moving averages are actually aligned with support or resistance. So as we get into this week, today's Wednesday, today's MT Live, and we're going to be talking about head and shoulders types of patterns, because there was lots of them on the bottoms on the daily chart. And maybe the next one we do, Dan, is going to, as this develops, might be M tops on weekly charts. As you can see here, and we spoke about this possibly happening, every time you get a pullback like this, a shallow pullback, and, after a run, and you've got prices, in areas so close to a prior high where there's been a sizable correction, reaction, that there's going to be sellers there again. And that's the psychology, if you will, behind the pattern, which we always look at. So we know there's going to be sellers as that gets retested. And so far it's been, I guess, a bit of a benign or neutral reaction so far. But if we should get the downside move, well, that'll start to look more convincing as an M top. So kind of a wait and see, no matter where we look. Does it break this level? Does it hit 3,400 and pop back up, and then it's a downside shakeout? So if it was to do that, and this did break lower and pop right back up again, well, that would be a great sign for the bullish case. Right now we've got a mildly bearish case here, which, stair stepping to the downside, and we'll see how today plays out. Let's go to SPY. Similar story. Where is it? 30. Let's call it 343, 343, basically unchanged. So let's assume that this goes lower at the open. So that low right there is going to come into play. So if the market was to open and under the 5-minute low or 2-minute low, it just spikes to the downside, that's going to be, the moment in time where the buyers are going to look to step up and see if this becomes a W. We've got a lot of things, conflicting here. And so we'll see what the open brings. I mean, this pattern, no doubt, says it's going down, right? Wide range bar, topping tail type of bar there. It spiked up and got knocked right back down again. So hanging here, what I want to see from the bearish case is it does come down here, and it'll either just breaks, but typically you're going to have buyers step up here, and then it tries to rally and it can't. And it just hangs there, and maybe 10 o'clock or 10:30, it starts to move down. And that should be a good trade today. And so for SPX, I would, if it starts to break here, you're going to get less premium on the call side, but you'll have a better setup of a more assured profitable trade with a spread above yesterday's high. And so if it gets back above here, maybe go a little bit above, as I say, we always look for, your lines of defense, and, it gets above here, it's going up here. And so as we come into the end of the day, if we were to get a green bar going up here, that's a swing long. So here we're just talking about what's going to happen intraday. And, because when we have this kind of uncertainty with conflicting time frames, we're looking for more information. And that information for us that are in front of our screens during the day unfolds on an intraday basis. What happens at this intraday support? What happens at this intraday resistance? And so on. And as the daily bar is complete at the end of the day, if we had a nice large green bar with this pullback within an uptrend, you got to think long that it's going to go up. And so the weekly bar is not done yet. So by Friday, maybe this is a green bar. I just don't know yet because there's no complete information as of yet. We shall see. SPX. Look, then I think for today, the no-brainer, 99.5% winning trade, if there was premium, would be above the big red bar's high. Down below, I think, that's tricky, but, below 33.50, right? I would feel safe with that. Yeah. So above the red bar, right? And I always look for SPX. I just look at the pictures that just say, historically, what's the odds of getting above this bar's high? It's extremely low. It doesn't mean you can't have a green bar that goes up there, but to close above it would be highly unusual. And on the downside, for, a move from here to here would be big. So if there was premium available below here, historically you should be safe. Well, there you go. Below 33.50 should be a no-brainer. If you go below 3,400, that's risky, unless you get not even a 5-minute, maybe a 15-minute confirmed downside shakeout, just pop back up, then you might consider that. And even if it does that above here, like I said, I think it's highly unlikely it would ever get above there. So there you have it. So this pattern in the NQs, you see this stabilization that's going on here. The depth of retracement is a bit too far. Doesn't mean it can't turn around, but historically, this kind of a pattern, to buy it as a swing, you really want to see it break the lows and come back, or maybe another day. And so I've explained about, several days on the daily time frame, and that creating a base on the hourly time frame. And as that develops, you begin to create a stronger area of price support. And here you can see the difference here. There's something directly to the left right there. And so far, it's pretty much a standoff where buyers and sellers, it's getting tighter. Well, it's hanging here. And the 5-minute charts, spike down overnight, back up. And you can see how it's getting a bit tighter there. Moving averages are still kind of down, starting to flatten out. Stay away for now. Stay away. YM, there's not much going on here this morning. A lot of choppy stuff. Same pattern overall. Alex is saying the DAX is breaking down. Maybe that's relevant. I guess we'll see. And this, while sloppy, I spoke about this earlier in the week, it's really holding up nicely. I like that bottoming tail bar within this big strong move up, and it's just kind of grinding down. This topping tail so far has gone nowhere. This is a situation, where we look for a consolidation where the 20 MA gets relatively close to prices. And again, visual aid, this is rising. It's above the 50. You had this strong move, and as a visual aid, just looking for that 20 MA to get closer where it's chopping around for a longer period of time. It's just a measure, a somewhat subjective measure. I will say that the corrective process that's been going on here is near complete. So I think that 20 days, you count 20 days back, right? Whatever that is, right around here, and you start dropping off that data. And so if it's these bars here, which I believe it is, these bigger, these bars, and look at where the prices are much lower, within 2 or 3 days, this moving average will catch up relatively quickly as it drops this off. And this data being now measured in, that's all about in the same area. So doesn't look ready yet. Right? Pretty much everything we're seeing in other places. Bonds are finally getting down to this targeted area. It took a long time to get down here. And that's where the buyers are going to be. What Bitcoin, what's that doing? $500 up. Yeah. Other than, the pattern, which was bottoming out here. Remember, Alex, you asked me about that about a week or so ago. And that's a nice bullish consolidation right there. It's moving up. It's coming up to the area of that prior topping tail in 13,000. So an obvious place for it to stall, especially greater than 100% retracement. A lot of times they take out the high and then they stall. Oil up a little bit. That's a nice reversal bar. That's a messy pattern, but see how it took out the low? That's an incomplete day, of course, but if it closed like that, that's something to take notice of, and it's up above the high. I like that. This doesn't point to much, but if it was to close like that, I think it's worth a long shot to move up into that area. Gold. So my view of a potential downside shakeout, it's not complete yet, but hey, it's doing the right thing. Whether it's waiting for the election, I don't know. You never know for sure. I don't want to rely too much on news, but it's getting up into the top of the red bar. So the shakeout is happening. It's at resistance here, so it definitely could be knocked right back down again. We shall see. And silver, starting to try and curl up there. Not as convincing. GDX, take a look. Yeah, it's up here, 39.90. Oh, shaping up. It's shaping up. It's not where we could say, look, it really happened yet. And that's acting bullishly, so overall the market is correcting since our internals reached an extreme, no significant damage done. And if we can get some kind of reversal day to the upside, as I said, that would be a swing buy. Right now, we're looking for more information as to which way things might go. There you have it. All yours, Dan.
All right, good morning. Yeah, I agree that the market's just chopping around here, waiting on more stimulus, stupid talk, and final election here coming up. I like what Joe Kernan said yesterday. It was funny because he's sick of these elections too. He says, "Hey, only 17 more days. My milk lasts longer than that, so one milk run and this will be over." He's funny. All right, all our opens are fine. Any questions? Ask me. Our Google, we did a put spread yesterday, on this nice reversal, and now gapping up to the high. That looks good. Let's look at gappers here. Calex 26, big gap, up $4. It's too extended. TGC looks like a little penny stock toy. Look at it, went from $1 to $4 in 45 minutes. That's craziness. This was a recent IPO. Debbie, I think, is still sleeping, but Debbie actually mentioned this to me on this gap day on Monday. I said that I liked it. I said, if this is something you like fundamentally, that's your entry right there. Enzo, sheer drop down. MTN bear call credit spread. No, it's not a good pattern because it's strong and it's just really a buy setup on minor support. And you're going out a month in a bullish pattern, so no, not crazy about that. Enzo's asking me about Uber long. It needs to consolidate. It had a big bar and it's rallied 50% into this fall, so it's not a good time to enter it, Enzo. But I read in the journal this morning that, and I don't know if this is the reason that it's up yesterday, but that the CEO has been accumulating little commercial outfits he has some, grand scheme that he wants to make all these little food prep places for deliveries. Been getting gas stations, just little businesses all over the place. 1390. Yeah, this is the Bitcoin ETF, and it's gap and resistance. But I read that the news on that was PayPal is going to start allowing them to trade. So, and this is a bullish move. So McGraw, we have a lot of credit spread candidates today, a lot. So now here's one 30-minute high, and we just sell it under this red bar under Monday's low. So that's a candidate. Sam LMT short. It's continuation pattern. I'd prefer to consolidate a little bit more. On Twitter, yeah, these little social medias are really going. Look at Snap here at earnings. Now it's still in a bullish trading range pre-market, but it's a big gap. So for me, I'm not doing anything, but my initial thought is 30-minute low to sell a call spread. I told you I'm watching JKS here. We have the wide range bar. I was hoping it'd gap up 10 points. I noticed CSIQ was also up, but this is a much more bullish pattern because of this little bull flag consolidation. So that one I would not short. Also in the sector, run RUN is relative weakness, gapping under all this 15-minute support. So that's actually a bear call spread candidate. LH breakout. Well, the breakout occurred on Friday, McGraw, right? We don't call something up 4 bars far from the 20 a breakout. The breakout was Friday. Then it was a 1, 2, 3. And then yesterday was a 1, 2, 3 long. So you're just getting on board a moving train now. Fizzler, there's no pattern. It's just going sideways with topping tails. There's no. I like CSIQ pattern better than Fizzler. If I can get a 1, 2, 3. SCCO. Now that's a breakout, McGraw. Do you see the difference of this versus LH? Look, yesterday was the breakout. It moved up to resistance and would have 2 red consolidation days with a little topping tail, and then it traded and closed above the topping tail. So this one looks good. I'll put this on the list. Square here I have is a call spread candidate. It's strong. I wouldn't go out 9 days, but I'd go out 2 days, 30-minute low over the week's high. Another one of these strong stocks getting extended. Zoom's also been a beast. I'm watching this for a call spread. We already have Piton call spread. Covered half yesterday at a profit. We have Beyond. I'm just showing you some of these really extended ones that we have call spreads on. Roku. Roku, I said we might be able to do another one for next week. This one I wouldn't mind holding 9 days. Those other ones will also be on, but Beyond had earnings next week. Otherwise, I would have put on a new position on this yesterday. So Roku is still an idea for a new trade. Autodesk, short term only, Mark. Just it's just a vanilla climactic sell setup, but it's on a strong uptrend, daily, weekly. Facebook, I don't know what the news is. I don't care, but that's a big bullish move. It's at resistance, but once again, here's a put spread candidate. That's a nice bullish, 2-bar reversal on support after going through the gap fill a little bit. That's a nice short-term low. They're in the middle of being intact. by censoring, conservative behavior. But Twitter and Facebook were the two biggest candidates for that. And look at their stocks. Do you think they care? But see, I don't care. I mean, I don't like if they do that. I don't agree with that. But we're traders, and the market assimilates all market views and participants, and so I don't care. I mean, it's bullish price action. They don't care about that bad news, or maybe it's not bad news. I don't know. VIAV 13. Yeah, this one's on my list here somewhere. I got a ton of gappers here. I will have to continue looking after the market. Yeah, it's gapping a resistance. Yeah. Yesterday would have been a beautiful put spread candidate. It's made the nice turn there, bottoming pattern. So Netflix, obviously. Dan Chapman, your drop down. So the earnings, earnings disappointment. We were talking yesterday into the close. I had no idea which way it would gap, but if I did take a guess, I would have bet down just based on technicals. Got all this major resistance, breakout failure. We'll see what it does. There's a lot of support here at 500. So my mindset is 30-minute high. We sell a put spread for Friday. Dan Chapman's asking me to look at Dairy Queen. You're getting on board a moving train. I don't know what you're asking me, Dan. You all got to ask me, are you bullish, bearish, neutral? There's nothing here for me. There's no low risk pattern for me to do anything with that. SBSW, 13 bucks. All right, so here's a 30-minute high candidate. It's gapping right over all this resistance. It could be day trade to 1350. Uber, we mentioned, that's a put spread candidate. JKS, we talked about, run. GDX. DCT, I can't tell where you're gapping, but I think you. Oh, that's loud. How far away can we get? McGraw, I'm not sure what you're asking me. I'm not sure what that means. You're an expert in selling credit spreads. You know what we like, right? We talk about it every single day. I want them under major support, over major resistance. Oh, on Netflix. Yeah, no, we just gotta wait and watch. I mean, ideally, under here. But I don't think we'll get much we got to see what it looks like. So yeah, I don't know is the answer.